Okay, so in this video, we're going to use talking to demonstrate how improper speech causes the destruction of the body. All right, so it's kind of the main mechanism of propaganda, but it's also the main mechanism of how your thoughts or any other thoughts just destroys the world, right? So to understand these, you have to find perfect health, right? So you have to know what perfect health is, and then once you know what perfect health is, you can see or observe the effect that different types of thoughts have on perfect health. So you could do a big experiment finding perfectly healthy people and kind of prove this scientifically, but you can also find perfect health in yourself, at least temporarily, like for a moment. And that perfect health is like when you sit still, and really you don't have to do anything else for this to happen, but you can kind of direct your attention here. It's the water of the body, the awareness of the body is entering, flooding, filling. The awareness, the water is entering, flooding, and filling everywhere in the body. There's no attention, there's no aversion, there's no distraction, there's no redirection of the attention anywhere else other than to kind of like fill the cells and really just fill the cells of the body, right? Like if the cells of the body are filled with water, like and all the sort of electrohydrostatic pressures are open and allowed to equalize and move where they want to go, you get perfect health. And so where this part is like really important is kind of along the centers, the midline of the body, the brain, the brain and the mind and the nerves are the things, largely controlling the most tangible or the most perceptual aspects of this system. Like your kind of muscular tension, your posture, your nerves, your thoughts, just the activity of the central nervous system. If that's supported in water, it gets the nutrients it wants and the show runs, right? Like if there's kind of any sort of constriction or removal of the awareness from that central core, that central main line, right? Like literally the central main line, especially the heart, then you get systemic downstreams effects, like the nerves tense up, the muscles, whatever, you get reduced blood flow, reduced organ function from that core line losing water or losing awareness, right? And you can sit here and see like, okay, all right, I'll just feel that. And you just rest, just don't let anything happen. And you'll see that this is happening. This is wanting to happen. It's starting to happen. If you just sit and focus, not even focus, right? You can feel the water of the body wanting to saturate and do all this. Like if it's just left to be. You'll notice that if you start talking or you start acting in a way that isn't coming from here, that isn't coming from this rest, look at what the effect of the thought has on that type of focus or that type of being, that way of being that is allowing you to experience perfect health. Perfect health not being any sort of activity or whatever, but just the awareness doing what it's supposed to do. Just your life force, your consciousness doing what it is supposed to do in the body. That's health. When it's not doing what it is supposed to do in the body, then that's sort of not health. That's the destruction or the removal of perfect health. So you'll find that your thoughts are usually a distraction from this. You can do both at the same time, and then when you're doing this at the same time as thinking or as speaking, then it starts to become or look like what people would experience like as artistic. Eloquent, thoughtful, heartfelt speech, right? But most speech isn't that. It's a distraction from it. You can see and feel what it does to the awareness, which is what it's also doing to the water, and it disappears it in some way. It's gone while you're doing the speech or while you're distracted. And so if there's massive, like the propaganda of both your own mind, but also the larger propaganda, these are, just look at them as big, all-encompassing thought patterns. There's thoughts that are being pumped out that are so big, they can take up like an hour or two or hours of the day. And it's the same thing with these devices, and they evaporate the thoughts in particular ways, and that causes certain organ systems to shut down based on how the attention is distracted, because the distraction of the attention removes the water, removes the awareness from that area of the body. Right? Like if you move the water and you remove the awareness from a certain nerve plexus in the spine, you're going to have reliable and systemic downstream effects of the removal of sort of more water as the muscles tense up and the stuff squeezed out of the flows don't happen, and you can cause that area to shut down. And you can like put certain things in the water. You can like put drugs in the water that also modulate behavior. So if you put a drug into your bloodstream, you can get that part of your body like kind of interested in or accepting or eager or open to water, like open to life, and get like an opening. Not really an opening, but a But just from this moment, from here to here, it's hard to say which thought is better or worse or more or less destructive, because you'll see that when you're engaging in that type of behavior, the attention is completely destroyed. You're like the body is like gasping for air between thoughts, in a way. And if you're not aware of what's going on, all you remember are the thoughts. You don't really remember the between space where you're actually surviving or where you're actually breathing. Breathing being the kind of saturation of this water, and when the water's there, the charges are open to moving. If the water isn't coherent, then the electricity that needs to get from one area to the other of the body, from the lungs to the cells, and from the cells to the lungs, if the water is constricted, then that's like constricting the wire gauge in a circuit. So as the awareness gets scattered in distraction, then the wire gauge gets smaller and smaller. It kind of heats up. Metaphor, literally. People find, like, when they call it analogical thinking or whatever, people find it to be like poetic or insightful, or like, I got deep insight from comparing this thing to this other thing. And it's like, only smart people, or it's only analogical though. Like, you're viewing the world metaphorically, and it's like, no, actually analogical thinking is the truth. The truth is more analogical than analogical. It's literal. The comparisons are literal in a way. Like it's not a. There's no comparison between things because it's the same. It's the same thing. It's different instances of the same thing. So you're always thinking of everything in terms of everything else, but not in an analogical way. What was I even talking about? I have the memory of a goldfish.